Hey there, welcome to the House Music Connection podcast. I'm your host, Tony Fuel, and in each episode, we connect with a different guest to talk about the house music scene as a whole. We talk about music production techniques and workflow, and then just life in general. In this episode, we are connecting with Rissa Garcia. In addition to her passion for DJing, Rissa is also a producer and a label boss and a party promoter. And so she is just an all-around force in the New York City scene right now. And so I'm excited for you to hear all about it. Let's get into the conversation. Rissa Garcia, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, hello. Finally.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad that you have joined, and I want to make sure that I'm saying your name right. I say Rissa Garcia. Is it Rissa Garcia or is it Rissa?
No, it's Rissa Garcia, like Marissa Garcia without the MA.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, some Spanish people call me Rissa, which is technically the Spanish term way to say it. So yeah, it's okay either way.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to edit this out because all of the tech issues kind of threw me off guard a little bit. So
I know right now I'm like, okay.
Yeah. One second here.
Fresh start, clean slate.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to bring you onto the podcast because I've been following your music for a while and, just your trajectory, and you've had some really amazing releases out there, and you've been able to, kind of keep the vibe alive with that classic house sound. And so I just wanted to get your perspective. So for listeners, you are from New York City, born and raised probably. And so why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Rissa Garcia. Like you said, born and raised in New York. I was technically born on Staten Island. And then when I was 20-something, I moved to Manhattan. I started to get into the clubbing world actually early on in my teenage years because they had, some teen nights on Staten Island. And some of my friends were into DJing. And then as I got older, we started venturing to the city clubs, and eventually I got hooked.
Yeah. So
that was it for me.
So how far of a train ride, or how long of a train ride is it from Staten Island to the city?
Oh, there was no train at all. I took a bus, a ferry, and then a train. Mind you, when I think about it now, I'm like, what are you, nuts? I was probably early 20s, single female, venturing out on my own because some of my friends, they weren't up for going out. And I was like, you know what? I need to go. Yeah. This is when I was going to Danny Teneglia at Vinyl, which didn't open till like 11 at night. So here I am, me, I'm like 5'0" 20-something, getting on a bus to go to the ferry and train. And God bless my mom. She didn't know, but had they known, but no. Yeah, like I said, I was in my early 20s. So, you're a young adult venturing out. And thankfully, I wasn't killed, murdered, or anything like that. And I made it.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It wasn't like that at all. There was a lot of people around at the time.
Yeah. So if you had kids, and if you had a daughter that was 17 years old, would you be letting them do that, or just what did you
don't tell my nieces? Yeah, no, not at this time. You got to remember, it was a different time as well. Yeah. For me, it felt much safer. There was much more of a thriving nightlife, so it wasn't just me alone on the ferry riding by myself with a bunch of strangers. It was, very lively time, especially in nightlife. So there's a bunch of people going to the same place. So I always felt safe. This is my home. I've never felt any kind of weirdness. Although now it's a little weird at night. So because you have to worry about random stuff happening, not just getting into it's like crazy people. I'm like people you have no interaction with and just stabbing you for no reason. So yeah, it's a little different now. So no, I would not recommend.
So did you see the same people on the ferry, the bus, and the train going out?
Some people,
Yeah.
yeah. There was
Yeah.
some of the same people I would see and be like, oh, okay, they're going the same way I am, and then,
Hmm.
but actually, it didn't last long because I met my friend AB,
Mm.
and he was with me going every weekend. So, but the funny part is, we would go to the club together, and then once we hit the door, I'd be like, all right, see you later. And then I would just dance all night in my one spot. He had his spot, and
Hmm.
he would venture around. Me, I would just stay in my one spot, and he would know where to find me throughout the night. And then
Yeah.
end of the night, we meet up, go back home to Staten Island, and that was it.
Oh, that's so
Because
funny.
at the time, you didn't really need to know anybody. You just danced and got in
Yeah.
your own zone, and that was it. And plus, it was Friday nights. It was the same people going, so you knew everybody anyway.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was an amazing time.
Yeah. It sounds like that there was a real community, like just around dancing.
Yes.
It didn't necessarily even need to have conversations or like deep conversations with people. You just like,
Yeah.
your connection was
There
through
was no
through
alcohol in the club
dancing.
either,
Yeah.
so yeah, no
Yeah.
alcohol in the club, so people weren't spilling drinks on the floor.
Mm.
People were there just to dance, let loose. No cell phones at the time, so
Yeah.
it's a much more freeing environment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great.
Nice.
Glad I experienced
Yeah.
it.
So it sounds like the house music scene or the club scene in general has changed over the years. What would you say are some of the biggest changes that you've seen?
Well, certainly the amount of DJs has changed. The reason why people DJ has changed.
Mm.
Of course, there's still some that do it for the right reasons, and but again, everything used to be in Manhattan. Now everything is in Brooklyn,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
a little bit, further out for some people.
Yeah.
And some things are still the same. It depends on the party you go to. You still have the same great mix of crowds, like 718 sessions or like
Mm.
Louis Vega party, Body and Soul parties. You
Yeah.
still see the same old kind of New York vibe, which you don't get too often. So I kind of cherish those parties.
Yeah. Well, and have those parties been kind of more? You mentioned like a lot of them have moved to Brooklyn, but have was there ever a time where it was like more centralized and like you could kind of go to the same venue and expect to hear house music back in the
Right.
day, or was
That's
it?
another thing
Yeah.
that's changed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that's another thing that's changed. You could go to a club and you knew that you would hear, what you wanted to hear musically, even
Mm.
though the crowds weren't as, I don't know how to put it. Like they didn't care too much about like the music. Like they didn't have as much say as they do now,
Mm.
where a DJ doesn't have as much pressure to please them,
Yeah.
because, they're going to be on social media and God forbid, you don't want them to say something negative about the night.
Mm.
So, I'm sure a lot of that is in a DJ's head these days, what people say online about them.
Yeah.
So that kind of pressure. Yeah, they used to have clubs like Cielo. You
Mm.
could go any given night. Even earlier, Club Vinyl, where you could go Friday, Danny Tenaglia, Saturday, I think Danny Howells, different DJs like that. And then Sunday, you had Body and Soul.
Mm.
Also Saturday, they had The Shelter at one point. So it was like, my husband works the light there, and he
Mm.
worked the lights there. And he said he would see people Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
Yeah.
at that same club. So yeah,
Mm. Did it close
that kind of
Did it
consistency
close
is
at all
gone.
during? Was it like they were there from Friday through Sunday?
Yeah, no, it did close.
Okay.
Friday was 11 p.m. till about 12 in the afternoon, the
Yeah.
latest. So 11 p.m. at night, Friday till like Saturday 12, and then they would close. And
Mm.
then the next night would happen around 10, 11 o'clock. And then the Sunday party started around 6 p.m.
Mm.
It's like they call it a tea dance party,
Yeah. That's
Sunday
so.
tea.
Yeah, that's interesting because like I'm from Seattle and I like everything closes at 2. There's an occasional
Oh,
after hours that goes till 4 a.m. and then 4 a.m. is like late there. I mean,
4 a.m. is after hours, and
that's when it
yeah. I mean, we
ends.
don't
Yeah.
have those too much these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we end at 4, after
Yeah.
hours starts at 4, and it could go
Mm.
till who knows, depending on which one you're at. Because then they have the after.
Yeah.
They have the people that don't want to stop.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little old for that stuff now, but I do enjoy a tea party these days, 6 to like 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
you get a good chunk of party, you're not home too late. But I could still hang.
Yeah.
The last late night I did was I think it was a Danny Tenaglia party. We went to like 9 a.m. So yeah,
Mm,
I could still hang.
yeah.
Not till 12 p.m. maybe, but yeah, I think I was done by the time 9 came around.
Yeah.
It
So,
was a great
so
time.
you were a club kid, or I don't know if that's the right name to call you or whatever,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I
at the
wasn't one of
time,
those kid with baggy pants. I was just
yeah,
a person that loved to dance.
a
Like
dancer. Yeah.
I kind of grew up, yeah. My mom would have house parties.
Mm,
She would host the New Year's parties, our birthdays parties. We had DJs in the backyard because I grew up in this private community called Chateau Villa on Staten Island.
hmm.
So we had like this gated pool area with a backyard. So the DJs would set up there. We'd have a barbecue and the
Hmm.
pool was right there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
I kind of grew up in that environment. So it's your fault, Mom. Sorry.
Just
Can't blame me.
blame or
Yeah, we were
give
the
credit.
party house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the
Nice.
party house. Yeah, one New Year's, my parents actually blew the speakers and went to pick up the neighbor's speakers,
Mm,
just to continue. Yeah, we were that house.
okay. And your parents, did anyone ever call you the cops on your parents?
I'm sure they did, but I'm too young to remember. I think they did get into a few spats with neighbors, but all the neighborhood was there, so
Yeah.
it was only like the few older ones that were,
Yeah. The
you know how
the
those people,
not in my backyard.
the
Yeah.
old nosy
Yeah.
neighbors. Yeah,
Yeah.
they,
For sure.
I hear them now, though. When somebody's playing music in my house, I'm like, "Hey, it's 12 a.m. What's going on?"
Get off my lawn. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
So,
it's a different kind of music. So if it was
yeah.
house music, I'd be like, "Hey, okay, put it louder." But if it's like reggaeton or hip hop, I'm like, "Turn that down."
That's so funny. I love it. All right. So when did
Yeah.
you start DJing then? I mean, you were this club kid for a while. When did you just say, you know what? I want to be part of it now, or be part of it in a different way, contribute in a different way.
Yeah, I honestly wish I was a little bit younger when I discovered it, but wasn't until I was like 23, 24.
Mm,
I had already been going to Danny Teneglia's Be Yourself party for like 2 years, and then like the third year, I'm like, wow, maybe I should try this because I started meeting people that were DJs,
mm,
and I was like, okay, this is cool, I love it. And
yeah.
so I started buying records. My friends had their setups, so I would
Hmm.
practice on theirs. And then finally, I got my own turntables, and I gave it a whirl. And that's it.
Nice. So you got turntables, and had you been buying records before you got turntables, or was it kind of around the same time?
Yeah, it was around the same time. I think I started collecting a few records first, obviously, because then you'd have nothing to play once you got the turntables.
Right.
And because, of course, I still had friends that had turntables, so I could still listen to it if I wanted to. But yeah, it was pretty much around the same time. I only had like 5 or 6 at the time, but then I
Yeah.
started getting more and more into it. A couple of years later, CDJs came out, and then I got a pair of those, the
Hmm.
Pioneer 800s. So I started practicing more and more. Yeah, and that was it. I got hooked ever since.
Yeah.
Hooked for life.
That's right. House music for life. That's what we say, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So you DJ'd.
I
How
mean,
long?
not just house. I love
Oh
all
yeah.
things
Well,
dance.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not just. Yeah. I love disco, funk, anything that's grooving, and anything
Yeah.
you could dance to. I don't care
Yeah.
as long as it's good, soulful, grooving.
For sure.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
it.
I used to be into trance for a while. Duh.
We all were at one point. That
Yeah.
was a journey,
Yeah.
Dido, yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff.
That was kind of big in my era too, the late '90s.
Yeah.
Uh, but it wasn't like the hard, heavy trance. It was kind of like the melodic,
A lot of
kind of trance.
vocals. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. At
Yeah.
least that what I was listening
Like I
to.
said,
Yeah.
Dido. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Are
For
you
sure.
satisfied?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, DJ Micro X. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was I was into it too. I could
So
still dig it if it's a good track. A good track is a good track. Like it
for
doesn't
sure.
matter.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, a lot of trance is terrible, but
Yeah.
some of it is really great. The way they build it, the way they
Hmm.
have the chords and the synths come in.
Yeah.
It can be really like one of those moment style tracks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
especially in those
So,
old after hours times.
oh yeah, for sure. So when I'm like, so you got turntables, you started practicing. How long was it before you were able to start gigging and playing parties?
Oh, it's like a good 4 or 5 years till I got the
Uh,
nerve to play out.
okay.
Like, yeah, I've mentioned this before. I chickened out on my first round because I couldn't, my nerves were overcoming me. And
Mm,
I was like, listen, I'm just going to throw up on the turntables. It's not, I can't do it.
oh,
You
wow.
know, because it's not like now where it's much, simpler you had to really know what you were doing. You
Yeah,
can't you can't fake mixing on vinyl.
it's true. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So I was very much in my head and I was like, I couldn't do it. And then
Mm,
finally, I got another gig with my friend Carlos, who I was playing with at the time. We went by the name Residium because he was going by Exidium and my name was Rissa. So we merged the two and we did
okay.
it back to back all night long. And it was great. From that point on, I was like, okay, maybe I should do this.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. It's been
So,
a slow progress ever since.
yeah. Was there any kind of, I guess, shift in your mindset other than just diving in, doing it that one time, or was there anything else that kind of that helped you overcome that obstacle?
I guess alcohol helped at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
But also I practiced more and I was just more
Mm,
comfortable playing in front of people. Practicing with friends in the house. You start to
mm,
get a little bit more, comfortable and with your beat matching skills and just being in front of people to play. It's one thing,
yeah.
thinking you're a badass at home in front of nobody,
Hmm.
but playing once you get in front of people, it's like, okay, I have to keep these people moving. If I mess up, they're gonna notice.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
there was no hiding things at the time.
Right. That's true. So I
In
don't
other
know.
words, no sync button.
Right. So I think that I don't know, for a lot of us, there's when we're starting something new, whether it's production or DJing or starting an event, maybe there's like this I don't know, this mental roadblock that we have to kind of work through to basically start kind of like and dive in. I think before we feel ready a lot of times. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that I've definitely
Uh,
experienced that where I want, like, even with this podcast, I was like, I thought I've been planning it in my mind, or like decide, I had this
It's never gonna
idea that
go as your mind. Yeah.
I was gonna,
See, that's why I don't have expectations.
yeah, that's
Just
good.
go and do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I was
learn
thinking
as you
about it.
go. I mean,
Yeah, I
once
thought
you're in
about doing
front
it
of the
for a
camera and the
while.
camera's in your face, it's very different than in your mind. Just sitting and talking to somebody it's a different thing. Now,
Yeah,
there's nothing in your mind that can place you in the same exact instance as having a microphone and camera in your face.
right, exactly.
It's just time. You get used to it, you get more comfortable.
Hmm.
Even for me, doing these things, I was so cringy in the beginning, but now it's getting much more comfortable. It's a little bit easier,
Hmm.
and you just gotta go.
Yeah, the first few episodes I did with this podcast, I was really stiff. I mean, sometimes I kind of get that way a little bit, just because I'm like, so like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of my voice and whatnot? And but
Oh,
we gotta get out
I
of
sound
our
like a
own way.
chipmunk. I hate,
Oh, you
I
don't
hate my
know?
voice. I sound like a chipmunk, I think. In my
Yeah,
mind, that's what I hear. I hear like a little chipmunk voice.
yeah.
That's why people
I
ask
know.
me,
I
oh,
haven't
would you
noticed
do a
that.
voiceover? I'm like, you don't want my voice on a voiceover.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
guess none of us like the sound of our own voice, do we? I guess some people do.
no, I don't think so. I don't even know how it sounds to me. It's just,
Yeah.
maybe it sounds different in my head than out there, but yeah, I just hear chipmunks.
Hmm. I don't hear chipmunks, so I think you're good.
Yeah. Well, you have a good radio voice. You have nothing to
Oh,
worry
thank you.
about.
I just need to enunciate more
Yeah.
and move my mouth open a little bit more so that I mumble less.
See,
Yeah.
those are all
Yeah.
things you learn in broadcasting school. See,
Maybe I should go to
smile
broadcasting
for the
school.
camera.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
you're learning. This is your broadcasting school.
For sure.
You get to see what works, what doesn't work.
Hmm.
That's for me how I learn too. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, I'm not one that could read and learn from books. I learn by doing.
Yeah. So did you
Yeah.
ever go through a period where, I mean, maybe you still do, like, do you record your sets and like kind of listen to them back to like to think to
No,
analyze what can
never.
go right, what can I do better next time, or
Never, 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 never. The
no?
only time I listen to a set is if I have to approve it for like House of
Mm,
Yes often records the DJs, so they'll
mm,
send me, "Hey, we recorded your set from this night. Can you check it out? Let us know if it's okay to post."
mm,
But no, I don't. I'm like Robert De Niro. I don't want to watch my own movies. I don't want to hear
yeah,
nothing about myself. Tunnel vision, music,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. So what are
I
your
don't
ways then
listen to
of
myself.
improving and I guess improving yourself and how do you I guess assess yourself and evaluate what you're doing to say this is what I need to get better?
And what, in terms of DJing or?
DJing or production or just anything really.
Oh, production. I know I know what I need to do production wise. Just
Hmm.
collaborate with more musicians and vocalists and make some real songs. But that's another
Mm.
story. DJ wise, I don't get in my head.
Yeah.
I know if I'm playing live and I know I made a mistake, I'll know. Okay, but no, I don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
It's
It's
done.
just
It's done.
yeah,
That's it.
more muscle
Yeah.
memory. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't
So speaking
absolutely
of
don't even think about it.
yeah, so speaking of production, then, so it sounds like you have some ideas for I guess doing some other projects with like vocals and some songs and whatnot. Can you say more about
Yes.
that?
That's definitely my next step. Like I
Yeah.
love the work that you did with Andrea Brown and stuff like that. So
Oh, thank
I
you.
definitely want to hopefully get into the studio with some people and collaborate. I
Yeah.
mainly work from home, so I'm
Mm,
usually by myself late at night, just tweaking around with stuff.
hmm.
So yeah, I definitely would like to get into it with some musicians and some live vocalists and get some, real magic
Yeah.
because I can't do it myself.
Oh,
You
it'll
don't want me to
come.
sing.
Yeah. Oh no. I agree. I
I'm
mean,
just
with
kidding.
me, I mean that's how I feel about myself. Yeah. I've never heard you sing, so I can't say that. But
Oh yeah, trust me.
okay.
Listen to my
Yeah.
voice now. No.
I can sing in a choir,
Doesn't
but
get
like
any
that's
better.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you did sing. Oh, let me
In a
find
choir,
out.
that's it. Yeah, but don't ask me to sing a
It's
solo.
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, most of the greatest singers started in choir, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah. But
also that
there's
comes
the
with a different kind of yeah,
yeah. But
putting
there's
yourself
plenty.
in a vocal is
Oh yeah, for sure. So with production, how do you produce? Like, what do you have a process?
yes. I open up the computer, open up Pro Tools, start an instrument track.
Hmm.
Usually it depends on what I'm working on. Sometimes I could start with like a conga drum if I'm going to work
Mm,
on something that's like deep housey, or I could start with a kick drum or
mm,
chords if I want to go on the deep side. Yeah. I usually use machine, some VSTs, a lot of the Roland Cloud instruments, and that's it. I have a Korg Triton behind me.
mm.
If I attempt to
Nice.
play some keys myself, which done rather poorly, and then I edit the MIDI.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank God for MIDI.
for sure. And
But
quantize. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say that I have like a specific recipe. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like whatever I'm feeling. Because I do like to work on other
Hmm.
stuff besides house music, even though I don't
Mm,
release it. I just like to experiment and
mm.
do some down tempo style or like some ambient stuff, or
Yeah.
just to break free, creative in a creative sense. House music,
Hmm.
you're kind of restricted to that, certain rhythm and energy,
Yeah.
but I like to work over with some synth lines and just, look, free flow, no
Hmm.
bass, no drums, just, good
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah. It's all about the vibe.
That's it.
Yeah. So are
Yeah.
you
I mean, house music is great, but I like to expand.
yeah, for sure. And I think it's good. Like it helps you get better, like as a producer, even just to do other genres as well. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Now you could talk to a little bit about mixing. So I feel like producers are kind of in two different camps. They think that they have to like do their own mixing and whatnot, and like as far as the final mixing and mix down. But then there's another camp that's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to let the pros do the mixing. And
Yes, let the
what is,
pros do the mixing.
yeah, is that where you're
Uh,
at? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, well, for me, especially because I can't wrap my head around the science of EQing and sonics
Mm,
and all that stuff. And it's a entirely different beast. It's not
hmm.
creative. I'm a creative. That to
Yeah.
me, mixing is like science,
Yeah.
and that I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah. It's more
So,
of a, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you could creatively mix like my mix engineer Ruiz or Carlos.
Yeah.
He has like a great sense of creative mixing, but also technical mixing. So that's why I
Mm,
like using him. Whereas he knows how to bring some dynamics to the track, and he'll do something where I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, So
mm,
in that sense, yeah, it's great to have that additional ear that puts things where maybe you never thought to put it, and it works much better. So yeah,
yeah.
I definitely think it helps to get a more professional creative touch. I mean, more professional mix for sure.
Yeah. And even
Unless you
beyond,
have that skill. If you had that
yeah.
skill, by all means, do it yourself. But like I
Well,
said, you've heard it so many times.
yeah.
It's great to have somebody else come in and be like, okay. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. You could use your version. But I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think that
I
like,
need it.
I think that even if somebody has the skill, if they want to like do a lot of if they want to make a lot of tracks and put, have a lot of output, sometimes it actually like helps save time just to like, and then also get a different set of different perspective on the track when they ship it off to a mix engineer for the mixing part of it. Because I mean, you could,
Oh
because
yeah,
instead of
absolutely.
like spending your time on like that more like you said, that scientific side of things, uh, you can have more time to work on the creative, uh,
Right.
the writing
Oh,
and the
I would never
arranging,
finish a
and
track
yeah,
if I had to
yeah,
mix my own stuff. Are you kidding?
yeah,
Never, ever.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you have somebody else that's gonna maybe notice something, do
hmm,
something differently. Also, like my husband did a track years ago, and an old school engineer, Conrad Corelli, who did a lot of the Danny
hmm,
Teneglia's work back in the day, he did this simple trick with effects that I would never ever think of in the creative process, but he did it in the mix process.
hmm,
And it was just like this slapback delay thing that he did to bring the track back. And I was like, whoa, it just brought it to a whole nother level of the way he brought the track back in after a drop. And I was like, oh, I would never think of that. So yeah,
hmm,
it definitely helps in that sense.
for sure.
And like
Nice,
I said, yeah.
cool. So, as an artist, what are some of the challenges that you've faced, and how have you overcome them?
I guess being my own worst enemy is definitely like I'm
Mm,
always I never think anything's good enough production wise, which to me it's still not good enough. Like until I get to a level that okay. I did one track recently where I'm like, okay, now this is something that I could get into. I'm
hmm,
very critical of myself. Some people are like, oh, you're being too hard on yourself. I'm like, no, I'm doing what I need to do to improve. You know what I mean?
hmm,
But I'm honest with myself as well. I'm just as critical on myself as anybody else. I
hmm,
know good music and I know what I make is okay, but it's not great music yet.
hmm. Well, I think that people, including your tracks and their mixes, would probably disagree. But yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Like I said,
yeah, I know.
I know
Well,
what I want to do
yeah,
and can do up here, but
yeah,
executing is I haven't gotten there yet. So
yeah.
getting
That's all.
closer, but not until I get the musicians. That's where I think I'll be
Got
able to
it.
say,
Yeah,
okay, this is
yeah.
what I want to do.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. You'll get
yeah.
there.
I think that's definitely yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did do a remix. I think I'm a better remixer than a producer right now. Like I like
Yeah.
to take parts and rebuild the track and maybe add a little bit more flavor of my own. I think that's where I'm a little bit stronger now.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So I do hope to improve a little bit on my production side. I'm good at making beats, but the other
Yeah.
stuff, beats and bass lines, I'm good. But when it
Yeah.
comes to piano chords, progressions,
Hmm.
vocals, that's where I
Yeah.
need the help. So anyone wants to collab, hit me up.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to include your personal
Well,
email
we've done
address
some
and
collabs already. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we've done remixes for each other, but
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I'm up for collabing.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind, and I think the listeners will probably be knocking on your door. So,
Yes.
nice. All right,
For
so
sure.
let's see. So you're a DJ, a producer slash artist, and you're also a label boss. Can you say a little bit about the label?
Sure. We started Night Child Records back in 2008, 7, somewhere around there. Me and some friends from Staten Island that were started getting their feet wet in the production world decided to release some music. And then we kept it going for a couple years. And then took a little bit of a hiatus, came back in 2015 or 18, somewhere between there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know exact dates. It's all a blur. I took a break to focus on DJing and stuff, and then I decided to bring it back. We got a new logo done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really release as much as I should because, like I said, I'm more focused on DJing and producing, where the label is just kind of like an outlet for me if I want to release
Mm-hmm.
something, or if somebody comes along and drops me a demo and it's good, I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm up for putting it out. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
something where I'm laser focused on, where I'm shopping for artists and A&Ring.
Yeah.
I just don't have time for that.
Right.
But yeah, it's more of an outlet for me right now.
Yeah. Well, and then
But
there's the
I
whole
am up
the
for
promo side of things too.
releasing.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot to take on.
yeah.
Especially it's so much music coming out. It's really hard to like keep up. So I try to just
Mm-hmm.
we'll do a release once a month, if even that, or every couple of months. I can't keep up with these people with the every other day or every week. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I don't know
But yeah,
either.
like I said,
And
it's not my main focus.
yeah, some labels do it really well, but then there's other labels that are releasing every week on multiple imprints, and I don't know, the sales just aren't there to justify it really. And like,
Exactly.
how
It's
can
kind of
you
like a
effectively
content.
promote?
Yeah.
Like, how can you effectively promote that many things when I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. But
You're
they
not
probably
giving
know
it
better
time
than
to
I do.
breathe because you're coming
Yeah,
out with something else. Yeah.
yeah,
Like that track's already forgotten about last week. But it's
yeah.
also hard to make anything that's standing with so much music. I mean, unless you're like a Louis
Hmm.
Vega, where you're a master of production,
Yeah.
or something similar, and you got the big labels behind you. It's hard to cut through the noise.
Well, he's really
So
talented. And then also, but with somebody who has that much talent starting today, would they be able to, I guess, rise to the same level? Because I don't know, like things are so different now with like having to be like on so many different, I don't know, channels and different like social media platforms and whatnot. I just wonder like if there's like
yeah.
another like, is there somebody that's like just starting like maybe last year who can rise to the same level that Louis Vega is now, because he's got time on his side, So what as far as like that whole history of people of growing fans and whatnot. So I just wonder if there's ever going to be like a
Well, I mean, there's a
yeah,
difference between growing fans and growing hype.
yeah,
One
that's
can be
true.
bought and paid for, like
Yeah,
marketing, PR. The
hmm,
hype doesn't last unless you
that's
keep
true.
on
It's a
putting it
hamster
out
wheel.
there.
Yeah,
Content,
hmm,
content, content. Yeah.
yeah,
But with somebody like Louis, he has an audience, he has
hmm,
longevity,
yeah,
he has talent, first of all, and
yeah,
foremost. He also has the backing of great companies, great promo, PR people, and his name alone, whenever he releases anything, it goes to number one. So
right, yeah,
I don't know if something like that could exist in these days because I feel like people aren't as loyal
mm,
as they were
yeah,
back in the day. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
That's a good
yeah,
point.
I think it's possible.
Yeah,
But there's, like I said, there's a difference between hype and
yeah,
growing an audience. Like Louis has
yeah,
been doing this since he was young. He's
yeah,
been 30, 40 years out there as Louis Vega.
right,
So yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. Only time will tell, like I said.
It's true. Yeah.
You could build the hype in a year, but will
Hmm.
you be here in 20, 30 years? Will that name still mean anything without the hype?
Yeah.
That's the key. I've
Yeah.
played with the hype and it doesn't always live up to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
So
that.
don't believe the
Yeah.
hype. Always.
It's true.
Well, not
So,
always, because sometimes it is real, but
yeah.
it's a different thing to have an audience and having PR marketing.
Right. Well, hype is just that. It's not authentic. But then I feel like if somebody has like authenticity too to like match the hype, then that might be a
Right.
little bit
That's
more
that's
like
what I'm saying.
lasting.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah. That's what I feel like we've gone a little bit a ways from like the old days where the DJ mag companies would more
Yeah.
focus on those who deserved the hype
Hmm.
instead
Yeah.
of just having the reversal where you just have PR marketing companies shooting stuff out to magazines and they're putting it out there without, an artist that has no referencing. Like I've seen articles about
Hmm.
DJs that haven't even had one single event under their name. I'm like, how is this guy in this magazine? He has
Yeah.
absolutely no foundation at all. Like he hasn't had not even one event on Resident Advisor yet. He's in all these magazines.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So speaking of
it's
events,
that
you
double-edged
have
sword
an
thing.
event series in New York, a party series, dancing room only. I can kind of see it on the T-shirt there.
Oh yeah,
Or the yeah.
the
So
branding. Yeah.
tell listeners about dancing room only.
Dancing room only. I started back in 2015. We started at a club, CLO, which
Mm,
was one of the New York City's most prominent clubs.
hmm.
We did a monthly Thursday towards like I think it was like 2015 to 2017, and then they ended up closing like a year later. Since then, we've done Toronto, we've done LA. Um, did we do anywhere else? I'm trying to think. I know I've done somewhere else, but I can't think. Anyway, I started it as a notion to everybody standing around watching DJs instead of dancing. So
Mm,
I was like, all these people are standing around. Is this not standing room only? It's dancing room only. So
yeah.
I kind of wanted to just, bring the focus back to the dance floor.
Mm,
Forget about the DJ. They aren't the focus. The dance, like
yeah.
David Mancuso said, the dancers are the stars of the party. The
Hmm.
party is about you and the music. It's not about me. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm just the messenger.
yeah.
I'm like the preacher on the pulpit. I'm not
Hmm.
God. I am just spreading the message through the music, you
I
know?
love that. Yeah.
And so a lot of these events, you start to see the younger crowd just coming, standing in front of the booth with their phones out. And that to me is not what DJs are for. We're
Hmm.
there to make you dance, stress relief. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's what it was for me when I started going out. It
Hmm.
was a release of everything that I had going on in my brain and body, and it just went away because I just
Yeah.
danced for hours on end, and I just let it all out, and that was it.
Hmm.
That's how I got
Yeah.
hooked, and that's what is missing from this world.
So at these dancing room only parties, do you still see people with their phones on the dance floor, or is there like signage
Oh,
saying no phones?
absolutely, yeah. No, no, I don't. I don't discourage the use of the phone. Like I'm not
Mm,
here to tell you're an adult. You do what you want.
yeah.
But I try to keep the music in a sense where people aren't out with their phones and they're just dancing. And that's it.
Yeah.
Even when I have the superstar DJs, like I don't see a lot of people with their phones out. They just dance. I don't know what it is. It's the
Mm,
vibe or the energy of the party.
I
You're
love
always
it.
going to have somebody filming a moment, but it's not an all night constant where you're standing in front of the booth with your phone out. That to me is just like pointless. Yeah, you might as
Yeah.
well just stay home and watch
I
their
DJ'd at
boiler room
this.
set.
Yeah. Yeah. I DJ'd at this one club in Seattle, and there was the dance floor, and then the DJ booth was like on the second floor. It was kind of like overlooking the crowd, and I really like that environment because you could kind of see what people are vibing to, but then they weren't focused on the DJs, like you're saying. So I love
Right. I
that.
mean, that's how it used
Yeah.
to be back in the days.
Yeah.
Yeah. The DJ would be nowhere in sight.
Yeah.
Uh, Now they're on stages and they're the main focus, and that's where we are. uh, the best we can do is try to battle it. I don't think that'll ever come back full swing where the DJ's out of
Mm,
view. But like I said, if I could see the crowd, I'm good with that. They don't need to
yeah.
see me. Most of the time, they can't see me because the speakers the monitors are here. So this is all you see.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are like, "Who's playing?" I'm like, "Who's playing? I don't know." They have
Yeah.
to peek to the side and say, "Oh, it's Rissa."
Yeah.
Usually, they just see the top of my head bopping away. That's when they know. Oh, okay, that's who's playing.
Yeah.
But I prefer it that way. I don't like to be seen, just heard.
Yeah.
I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
I love it. So let's see. What are some current party series in addition to Dance Room Only that you find inspiration from in New York?
718 Sessions, which I mentioned
Mm,
before, is my absolute favorite.
mm,
It's Danny Krivit
mm,
residency and then he has also, if the club has two rooms, he'll bring like a younger DJ in the second room. But yeah, that's his residency. He usually plays all night long.
mm,
It's old, young, black, white, gay, straight, everything under the sun, all together, connected, dancing, vibing, and it's just beautiful.
I
Uh,
love it.
he plays everything from house, disco, funk, soul, and that's it. That's like the last classic New York party where you'll have the great mix of dancers, music lovers, music nerds,
Mm,
DJs. A lot of the same people go every month, so it's like everybody. You could go alone and you're going to see like 40, 50 people that you know.
hmm.
And that's really what I miss about New York, those resident nights where you build a
Mm.
familiar crowd, the DJ's comfortable, they trust
Yeah.
you, the crowd responds, they're open. Yeah, so actually, we have a party coming up with Ultra Nate with Benny Soto, who's the main promoter of 718, and
Nice.
Nervous Records. Yeah, we're calling it
Mm,
Hunty. It's going to be a good room on 211. The lovely Ultra Nate and myself in the main room. And then we have my mix engineer and good friend Ruiz and my old friends Forward Disco from the Cielo days. They were one of the
hmm.
guys that gave me my first big gig, so I always try to look out for them. In the bad
Yeah.
room, they'll be playing all night. And yeah, I'm going to be teaming up with Nervous Records and my dancing room only and Benny Soto's brand Dance Here Now. And we're going to do hopefully a great party.
Nice.
So yeah,
So
super
do you
stoked.
see? Yeah. So do you see a new generation of house heads coming up?
Yeah, that's what's great about 718 is like you see the young kids coming in and they
Mm,
see the old people, how they dance and they kind of engage the same way. So yeah, it's
mm,
great to see the young
nice.
crowd yeah, embrace our spirit.
I love it. Okay, cool. So what does the next 5 years look like for Risa Garcia as an artist?
Beats the heck out of me. Yeah, I'm not a planner. I'm like one foot in front of the other kind of person because you
Mm,
never know what life can bring. I don't have plans. I don't have expectations.
mm,
I'm very go with the flow. I'm very come naturally, organic kind of thing. I
yeah.
try not to chase things. I just try to. I don't put too much expectations. Like I don't be like, oh, in 5 years I'm going to be the biggest DJ in New York in the
Mm.
world and blah blah blah. I'm like, who knows where I'll be in 5 years?
Okay.
I can't say for sure. Just still making music. I still
Yeah.
love dancing and DJing, and that's it.
There you
No
go.
pressure on
Awesome.
myself.
Yeah. So let's see. I was going to ask one more thing about that. Oh,
Yeah,
do
I
you
mean
have
it's
an
probably a
album?
downside to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do
Yes,
you?
that I'm working on. Yeah. So that is the one thing I hope to release within 5 years, hopefully. I have a lot of tracks that I have done for it, but now,
Mhm.
like I said, I need to get the musicians in there to do some like uh, proper scales and stuff like that, proper
Okay.
changes. I can only do so much with my little hands.
Yeah, is it going to be all house music or other styles too?
No, 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 no. I have like some R&B style stuff. I have like a down tempo jazzy style
Mm,
thing. I have something that's a little bit more funk, soul, something that's a little bit disco-y. So
mm.
yeah,
So it'll
I'm
sound
excited.
like it'll be a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to do like
nice.
one of those older style, like it's not all just house, 12 house tracks and call it an album. Yeah. I wanted to do
Yeah.
something where the listener starts, it brings them in, and then it progresses, and then gets to the house, and then comes back down, and then like how I DJ,
Mm,
something like I always start out smooth, down tempo, and then I build, and then bring it back down for a nice soft landing. So that's
mm.
what I kind of like. If somebody puts it on, you can listen to it A to Z, not get bored. Hopefully, that's my goal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It'll happen. Cool. Well,
Fingers
is
crossed.
there is there any central message that you would like to leave listeners with, as far as, I don't know, what you're about?
Um, no, I I don't have any message. I guess that's what my downfall is. Like, I am what I am, and that's it. Like, authentic. I'm not, I don't play politics. I don't play games. Like, I try to be real. I try to keep
Mm,
my word. I try to be honest. Maybe too honest for some. Um, and that's it. Like, there's no BS with me. That's what I
mm,
think most people tell me. It's like, you are who you are. There's nothing uh, behind you. It's all just pure, what they say, pure love and attention. That's
yeah.
what they say. So,
That's awesome. So do you have
yeah.
any advice for people who want to get into the scene, and start making house music, or I guess being part of the scene in some other way, like DJing or production or
Yeah.
throwing parties, whatever it is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want to be like me, do it all. Uh, just learn about the roots of it all.
Mm,
Learn why people found the dance floor and connection. Learn about community,
mm,
uh, and that's it. Like, you can't get into this and be non-LGBT friendly because this
mm,
entire thing was built off their backs, you know? So stuff
absolutely.
like that. It's important to know the roots and the people who started it all, respect those roots and try to keep them going. And don't try to copy other people, draw from
Hmm.
people, be inspired by, and don't be inspired to be. Like, I was inspired by Teneglia, but I don't want to be Teneglia. I didn't want to
Yeah.
be, you know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
inspired me, but I didn't want to be him. So
Yeah.
I think some people just try to be copycats and emulate what they see. Like, be your own DJ, find your own sound. Don't just try to play what this one's playing or that one's playing, because
Hmm.
it's so easy to play, what's that? So, the big hits of house music, and
Hmm.
there's no challenge in that. And playing Little Lewis, Lonely People, everybody's gonna go crazy to that song. It's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to make people break records.
There you
Try to
go.
make people, into different music. I mean, stay true to the classics as well, but I feel like some
Hmm.
people rely on them too much.
Mm,
Try to be your own
yeah.
DJ. Find your own sound and just draw from inspirations, but don't try to be Louis Vega. I've seen a guy that
Yeah.
did exactly Joe Clausel's moves when he's mixing. I'm like, guy, you're like a carbon copy of Joe Clausel. Like, from if I put the video side to side, it's like, and everybody
Mm,
picks up on it. So it's not like it's not noticeable.
mm.
So yeah, be authentic, be real, and like Danny says, be yourself.
I
That's
love
always
it.
been my message.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
cool. Well, thank you so much for joining
that's
me on this call, and I think listeners will have an appreciation for a lot of the insights that you've given. So, yeah, I'll be sure to include your information on the show notes in the description so that people can link up with you or at least follow you or whatever. And I'm looking forward to the album that you're going to be coming out with within the next 5 years. So
yeah. There you go. You gave me a deadline. It's on paper now. I have to get it done.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Yes. Take care.